There are over 99 different ways a goblin speaks, but only one noise as generic as this one.
Hey gang! Using the promo code MTGMudsta, all caps, will get you 10% off any order over $10 at Flipside Gaming. It'll also get you 10% off any orders of singles at Multizone. And it'll get you 10% off most products at Original Magic Art, with the exceptions of some paintings. If these fine sites don't have what you're looking for, you can also consider using my affiliate link when ordering from TCG Player. And if you'd like to join the generic Goblin Gang to support this channel, there's a link to my Patreon in the description below. If you're watching this, I am dead, tired from flying to the United Kingdoms, which is where I am right now. And since I'm in a foreign land, I decided to use a foreign game, aka the Jersey Boys. This week, Trevor is playing Freyalise, keeping 4 forests, a skull clamp, and an elvish mystic. Frank has brought out Purphoros, keeping impact tremors, expedition map, 3 mountains, and Tilonali's summoner. Harry is rocking Saffi, keeping Path to Exile, a temple garden, a forest, an eldritch evolution, a restoration angel, a stirring wildwoods, and a soul of the harvest. Ryan is playing the werewolf guy, aka Ulrich of the Krallen Horde. He keeps a command tower, 2 forests, Nissa Vastwood Seer, Solemn Simulacrum, and a Scrabbling Claws. Trevor wins the die roll and starts us off. Trevor plays a forest for his first land, casting an elvish mystic. Ryan plays a command tower and drops Scrabbling Claws. Harry plays a tap stirring wildwoods and passes. Frank plays a mountain and casts an expedition map. Trevor plays a forest, casting Skull Clamp and passing. Ryan plays a forest and passes. Harry plays a forest as well and casts Saffi. Frank plays a mountain, passing. At the end of turn, Trevor cycles his Desert of the Indomitable to draw a card. Trevor draws for turn and plays a forest. He swings the Mystic at Frank, who's been talking some serious smack since the get-go, and then passes turn. At the end of turn, Ryan has Trevor exile a card with his Scrabbling Claws. Ryan plays a forest and casts Nissa Vastwood Seer. He goes to his library, finding a forest and putting it to his hand before passing to Harry. Harry plays a temple garden, taking 2, and pays 3 for an aura shards. Harry then gets in on the pain train, hitting Frank for 2 with Saffi, which Frank marks down after finding a land he's searching for by activating his map. Frank reveals an ancient tomb, and Harry passes turn. Frank plays his ancient tomb, and takes 2 as he casts Purphoros before passing to Trevor. Trevor plays a forest for turn, and taps out for the fabulous Freyalise. He downticks her to blow up the aura shards, and passes. At the end of turn, Ryan makes Harry exile a card with his claws. Ryan plays a forest and pays 4 for a sad robot. He goes to find a basic from his library and passing. Harry draws for turn and hits Frank for 2, which I feel is justified if you knew Frank in person. Harry then sacrifices Saffi as part of the cost of Eldritch Evolution and goes to tutor for a creature card. He finds his own Solemn Simulacrum, putting it to field, and finding a land before passing. Frank plays a mountain and doubles up with a mini Purphoros effect from an impact tremors. We then see Frank take 2 from his tomb to help cast a Grinning Ignis, hitting the field, and it deals 3 to all of his opponents. Frank then passes. Trevor upticks Freyalise to make an Elf Druid token, and he pays 4 mana for the interesting Peer's Whim. He chooses friend for himself and foe for the rest of the table. Ryan and Harry lose their Solemns, drawing a card, while Frank sacrifices his impact tremors. Trevor goes and finds a tapped Gaia's Cradle before playing a forest for his turn. He then clamps the token to draw 2 cards, and pays 1 with the Mystic for Llanowar Elves. At the end of turn, Ryan has Trevor exile a card with his claws. Ryan plays a Skarg Rage Pits and pays 4 mana for Domri Chaosbringer. He downticks the Walker by 3 to look at his top 4 cards. He reveals and keeps a Wood Elves and an Ulvenwald Tracker. Ryan then casts the Tracker and hits Harry for 2 with Nissa. Harry plays a Tireless Tracker but has no land to follow up with. He does have Path to Exile for Frank's Igneous though, and Frank says goodbye to it while searching for a basic. Frank plays a mountain, and Tulonali's summoner comes in and has Purphoros deal 2 to Frank's opponents. Frank then plays his copy of Skullclamp, and he counts up his permanents. He evokes the Ingot Chewer, who comes in and blows up Trevor's clamp, and this also has the benefit of dealing 2 to Frank's opponents, and at the same time gaining him City's Blessing. With nothing else, Frank passes. Trevor plays a Fierce Empath, and shortcuts down-ticking Freyalise to blow up Frank's Skullclamp before searching for a creature. Trevor finds and puts to hand an Uvenwald Hydra, and this is why we're friends. He then casts the Hydra to find a land, searching for a deserted temple, and while he passes, Ryan has Trevor exile a card from his yard. Ryan plays a Tap Tranquil Thicket as his land for turn, and this transforms as Nissa. She becomes Nissa Sage Animist, and he upticks her, revealing a forest and putting it to the field. He then upticks Domri to add 1 red mana, and pays the rest for Ulrich. Ulrich has Riot as a result of Domri's mana being spent, and Ryan gives him haste, and also puts the +4/+4 trigger from Ulrich entering onto himself. Ryan then activates the tracker to have Ulrich fight the summoner on Frank's side, and Ulrich is easily able to overtake the pitiful human. Ryan then decides to spread the love, and hits Harry for 8 commander damage. Harry calls it, and doesn't draw a land. He does put Pattern of Rebirth onto the tracker, and swings it at Freyalise, hoping for Trevor to block. Trevor doesn't take the bait though, and lets his commander go to the command zone, and Harry then passes. Frank uses Faithless Looting, drawing 2 and discarding 2. He counts up the creatures on board, and pays to flashback the looting again, losing 2 life from tapping his Ancient Tomb. Frank at this point is starting to feel the pressure though, and begins to refer to himself in the third person.
Sick rips, Frank.
We then see the heavily forecasted Blasphemous Act for 2 red, and this gives Harry a pattern trigger as his creatures die. He finds a creature as Frank passes. Trevor untaps, and Harry plays a Protean Hulk, but he promises it's just for value. We then see Azuri being cast for Trevor, and he plays a Forest. Trevor then casts Concordant Crossroads, and this lets Trevor swing Azuri at Ryan's Nissa, and he overruns Azuri to take the walker out. At the end of turn, Ryan has Trevor exile a card with his claws. Ryan upticks Domri again, making a red mana, and plays a Palaka Worm in his main phase. He has it come in with a +1/+1 counter because Trevor's Crossroads is giving everything haste, and he gains some life to go back up to 40. Heading to combat, the worm then heads at Trevor for 8. Harry plays an Ashnod's Altar in his main phase, which is totally fair with the Hulk. It dies, and Harry grabs some creatures, being close to ending the game, but can't close it out sadly. Instead, he goes for Plan B and finds a Birds of Paradise, Wood Elves, and Sakura Tribe Elder. He then finds a Savannah for the field from the Wood Elves trigger. The claws are really a big problem for Harry at this point, and are keeping him from going off, so he just passes. Frank draws and plays Norrin, dealing 2 to the table and passing. Trevor casts Freyalise, and Norrin runs away. Trevor then plays a tapped Orin Reef and downticks Freyalise to target the altar. Harry responds to the ability on the stack once he gains priority, and makes a white with his Birds of Paradise, and then sacrifices it to the altar and pays 1 land for a Restoration Angel. The angel comes in and flickers the Wood Elves to let Harry find another land. Trevor also then heads to combat, hitting Frank for 2 with Azuri and passing. At the end of turn, Ryan has Harry exile a card, and Norrin comes back dealing 2. Ryan plays his own Birds of Paradise, and Norrin runs away. Ryan then drops a Fauna Shaman and activates it, discarding a Wood Elves. Harry also sacrifices his Sakura Tribe Elder at the same time for a basic. Ryan then finds and casts his own Ulvenwald Hydra, also justifying our friendship, and gives it a +1/+1 counter from using Domri's mana. Unfortunately, there's a small hiccup at this point in the footage, but he does find a Scavenger Grounds and then hits Trevor and passes. Norrin also re-enters at the end of turn and deals 2. Harry plays an Elvish Norrin in his main phase, and Norrin runs away. With Norrin's ability on the stack, Trevor untaps Ryan's Scavenger Grounds with his Deserted Temple, Harry then hits Trevor to take him out, and the table takes 2 from Norrin re-entering at Harry's end of turn, but then dies from Elish Norrin's static ability. Frank plays a command beacon and passes. At the end of turn, Ryan has Harry exile a card. Ryan upticks Domri to cast a Worldbreaker, who on cast exiles Harry's Savannah to try and keep him from going off. It then comes in, and Ryan gives it haste with the Riot trigger. Ryan then swings the team at Harry, and Harry declares his blocks with the Wood Elves on the Hydra, Elish Norrin and the Palaka Worm, and the Angel on the Worldbreaker. Ryan then activates the Rage Pits before damage is dealt to give the Palaka Worm +1/+1 and trample. This doesn't get any damage through, but it does clear out Harry's board. Harry draws and can't find a land. He casts an Eternal Witness and returns the Wood Elves to his hand, which has Ryan make Harry exile a card. And once that ability is resolved, then sacrifices his claws to make Harry exile the target for the Eternal Witness trigger. Ryan also draws a card. Harry then doesn't return anything and plays a Grand Abolisher before passing. Frank plays a Mountain and passes. Ryan plays an Arch of Araska and casts Vivian, Champion of the Wilds. He minuses her to exile one of the top 3 cards, and then downticks Domri and reveals Reclamation Sage and a Balefire Dragon. Moving to combat, he swings everything at Harry, who blocks what he can. Ryan then uses the Rage Pits to get in enough for lethal, and he passes to Frank. Frank draws and reveals Krenko Tin Street Kingpin, who isn't enough to stop the inevitable beatdown heading his way to Ryan, and scoops it up. Game review time. So, to start off, this game had a lot of people keeping only 6 cards. Being 1 card down is never a great feeling, and it seemed like for most of this game, everyone was answering other people's threats with a 1-for-1 card trade. I think the major difference was that a lot of Ryan's cards happened to be permanents that had activated abilities, and once they were on the field, he could use them over and over again, like the Ulvenwald Tracker. Everyone else seemed to have really good answers against each other, like Elish Norrin against Trevor's Elf deck, and Freyalise and her Elves dealing with all the troublesome enchantments and artifacts. I'm actually genuinely surprised that Frank didn't win, since in my experience, typically when people play Purphoros, that deck tends to win. It kind of becomes inevitable that you're either going to be low in life, at which point then Purphoros will be able to play a bunch of token generators and kill the table, or he'll just grind out creature after creature after creature to the same effect. Please be sure to tune in every Monday and Thursday at 11 AM Eastern Standard Time for a guaranteed new video. You can also follow me on Twitter at MTGMudsta. You can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/MTGMudsta. And lastly, you can check me out when I stream at twitch.tv/MTGMudsta. This video is brought to you in support by my patrons. If you're looking for a way to help out the channel, please be sure to visit the link below. Thank you all for watching this video, and don't forget, friends are just opponents you haven't eliminated yet.